Namaskar, this is Ratna. You are watching Empire Diaries. India's income tax rate for super rich people is way higher than that of wealthier countries. Which are these countries? The US, Canada, Switzerland, New Zealand, Norway, Singapore, and the territory of Hong Kong. Sounds incredible, isn't it? The income tax slab for the richest chunk of the Indian population currently stands at 42% of their personal earnings. This is according to the digital database World Population Review. Some media organizations say it could be higher at 42.7%. Switzerland's super rich individuals pay 40% of their personal income as taxes. The wealthiest class in New Zealand is taxed at 39%. In Norway, the tax rate for the super rich is 38%. The elite population in the US is taxed at 37%. The ultra rich in Canada pay income taxes at 33%. Singapore's wealthiest are taxed at 22%, and Hong Kong's elite tax rate is 15%. The oil-rich Gulf countries, which are immensely wealthier than India, don't collect any personal income taxes from their residents. But in recent years, some of them have started imposing corporate taxes. In Africa, poverty-hit Ivory Coast ranks number 1 in the world with a marginal income tax rate of 60%, followed by Finland, Japan, Austria, and Denmark. Now, it's important to make sense of this data in the context of inequality and wealth distribution around the world. The point to ponder is simple. If the richest people are so well taxed, how come it doesn't reflect on our economic condition and well-being? The condition of the national economy and the standard of living in the wealthy countries we mentioned is hugely better than compared to India.
Now, for the first time, we're able to have these two global distributions side by side, the global distribution of income and the global distribution of wealth. So, income inequality levels today are in line with what we were observing in the previous edition of the World Inequality Report. Top 10% captures 52%, a little more than a half of global incomes. When it comes to wealth, the situation is much more concentrated, with the top 10% capturing more, owning more than 3/4 of total household wealth at the global level. And the bottom 50% owns just 2% of it.
In fact, the latest data on inequality around the world shows that income inequality in India has reached an alarming level. According to the World Inequality Report 2022, which was released by the Paris-based World Inequality Lab in December last year, India stood out as a poor and very unequal country with an affluent elite population. The report pointed out that in 2021, the richest 10% of the India's population owned 57.1% of the country's combined national income. The bottom 50% of the population held just 13.1% of the total national earnings. So it's a clear case of massive inequality. The research reports say that just 1% of India's population held a huge 21.7% of the combined national income in 2021. It also reveals that India's richest 10% population was 22 times more well off than the bottom 50%. So it's clear that the India's finance ministry's tax policy for super rich people is completely dwarfed by a ballooning inequality problem. The pandemic has demonstrated how billionaires' wealth has surged amid all-round economic devastation.
This is a report that highlights how inequality has grown over a very long period. But the terrifying result is that it's actually worse now, or just as bad as it was during the period of peak imperialism in the 19th century. In other words, we are now at levels of global inequality that are similar to the time of Western colonialism, when everybody agrees that it was really unacceptable levels of global inequality. And this is something that is not necessary. The very, very important point that the report makes is that inequality is a political choice, and it is a choice within countries and globally.
If the government managed to collect taxes from very rich individuals for all these years at very high rates, the nation and its economy wouldn't have plunged to the absolute devastation that we see out on the streets today. Farmers wouldn't have needed to run away from villages to look for low-wage jobs in congested cities. Commuters wouldn't have needed expensive expressways. Well-maintained national highways would have done the job. The general state of despair of public services and public utilities would have become a thing of the past. Poverty and hunger wouldn't have been a perpetual feature of our country. Rather, India abolished wealth tax in 2017. Neither there is any sign to increase the corporate tax despite India taking a far bigger hit as compared to other countries. If the top 1% of the country's population owns almost 25% of national income, something is very wrong somewhere. Dollar billionaires number in India jumped from 85 to 126 at the end of December 2021. And yes, during this virus era, only a 2% wealth tax on them is likely to generate more than rupees 1 lakh crore.
In spite of enormous economic growth in a number of developing countries like China or India, if you look at the tax rate, the total government revenue or spending relative to national income, it hasn't grown that much, and you can see that at a global level it is.
This was it for today. We'll bring you more such news which you don't see anywhere else, because news is not what you are told, but what you are not. Keep an eye on our website empirediaries.com, subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media. Stay tuned, stay informed.